Yes, thank you, Outi, and thank you, Luis, for a great presentation. My presentation is about the career path project which we had, and my name is Vesa Parkkonen, and I come from Häme University of Applied Sciences. And we are located in about 70 kilometers north of Helsinki, and we have both bachelor's and master's degree programs in nursing engineering, for instance, bioeconomy, and professional teacher training. We also have a lot of education export around the globe, and we have about 8,000 students. The Career Path project is actually a framework for in recognition of prior learning and competencies among highly educated people with an immigrant background, and the sought and found solution to smoothen career routes for highly educated immigrants and to minimize education overlaps, provide employment quickly, and orientate highly educated immigrants towards further studies. That was the aim of the project. So fully utilize the competencies by creating coherent and fully accessible national practices. As in the picture you can see on the right-hand corner, we were not alone there. We had help from many other participants from universities of applied sciences, vocational institutions, and adult education colleges. And I come back to the picture which I'm showing you currently. There are these results, and we see them as a stepstone. There's a road there in the middle, and of course you have the handrail there to help you out, which refers to more or less to guidance. The target group for this project was highly educated immigrants with degrees in business, administration, technology, health, or vocational teacher education. And these groups were chosen due to the fact that there's a high demand for this kind of education among the highly educated immigrants that have entered Finland. We did get a lot of information during the project of highly educated immigrants, their experiences, the process of recognizing their competencies, the additional training needed in their career or in Finland, career guidance combining their prior competencies, skills from their home country. How could it be integrated to our society and the competencies that are required on the working life? Placement in working life as well. How could it be done? How should it be done in the right way? And we actually received a lot of valuable information of the processes and practices for further development of the recognition and accrediting of the competencies in different, and this was done with the cooperation with different actors in the education field. We also interviewed the employers and workplace supervisors and tried to get the ideas from them that how we should develop this process further. So what we resulted in during this 3 year project, it started 2015 and ended at the end of 2018. We resulted in creating an immigrant nurses continuing education model that makes it easier for nurses or nurse education people who have a nurse education from their home country to legalize their practice as being in the field of healthcare. Another model was an expert of the Finnish World of Work diploma model, where I was in charge of actually, and where we tried to create sort of an apprenticeship model where we could combine the skills and knowledge they have from their or earlier education in business and experience in the business sector, and combine that into cooperating with Finnish companies. They were a subject as learning languages, but at the same time learning the skills and competencies that are required, for instance, in IT or equivalent there. So what would be the additional skills that they would be required from that? Both these module structures, models are based on flexibility and personalization. So there's a lot of degree of individualization in these processes, and through making it more individual, we believe that we can speed up the whole process of getting the competencies and skills that are required by the working life. So that's some of the ideas. We also made in the technical part of this project, we made a digital self-assessment tool for this to-be students or to-be construction engineers to evaluate their own skills, for instance, testing their language skills or their mathematical skills, and assessing them for comparing and finding out the areas that they need to work on further. We developed in the project a role-play based language education model that highlights play and sort of having, I would say, even fun during the game, and at the same time authentic situations where you could really use the words and the phrases that are related to that kind of situations. Of course, individual feedback is in every learning very important. That was used in that model as well. And of course, when planning on these kind of role play classes and so forth, so you have to have the working life aspect weaved into these processes. We also provided a model for workshop model for health sector workers who are introducing immigrant students to work. So we sort of trained the trainers in a way and then tried to help them out to spot the things that are helpful, and that was very, very interesting. We also made general recommendations for vocational teacher education regarding the content and structure of the studies, and these included sections of student selection. So when we are selecting people who with immigrant background, when they want to become teachers, what are the things that we could emphasize more or less in the selection process? And these recommendations were used and implemented throughout the Finnish educational system. Also, language as it is very important, and communication education model for immigrant nurses were introduced. One interesting aspect of the whole project was the idea of having a multidisciplinary cooperation between the actors and create a new kind of networks where people from engineering and from business and health and teacher training could combine the best of those together and find out some new ideas. So coming back to the picture, you can see that there are these self-efficacy that Luis was mentioning about. That's a vital path, and that can happen earlier before they start their studies at for instance, at adult education college and in that kind of institution. It's just a path that encourages them to work further in their skills, and then eventually having the knowledge of the working life, having the knowledge of enough skills in languages, or in the Finnish language particularly here, and see that how things are going, and further on work on their path towards work. So idea with the whole thing is that you have individual paths, you have a lot of guidance of learning, career guidance, all of those in the whole of the process. So we try to smoothen career paths, get a fast access to employment, and utilization the existing competencies and get training started as soon as possible. It's for them. I think this is my presentation of the theme.